And welcome back, guys. This is session 2. Obviously, as you can see, we are not out on the lake or even outside. I will be working on a project here at the house. We are working on finishing the basement. So one of the last projects, I shouldn't say last projects, but one of the projects we are kind of working on to get finished up today in this alcove is we're going to do a couple of floating shelves, 3 foot this way and then up a little bit and then 3 foot that way. 10 inches off the wall and about 5 to 5.5 inches in thickness. So yeah, let's get started. Okay guys, here we are in the shop. I am just gonna get started here. We gotta cut down some wood. As you can see, it's still a little cold in here. Okay, here is the lumber we're planning on using. I've got a couple 1x10s and a couple of 1x6s. Like I said, we're planning on the shelves being about 10 inches in depth and about 5 to 5.5 inches in thickness. Okay, so let's get ready and get these pieces cut down into the sizes we need, and we'll be back after that. As I started to measure and cut, I was actually getting really frustrated because I thought I had picked out some pretty straight and true boards. They would prove themselves to be not so. My plan here is to drill some pilot holes and then just do some trim nailing. I've got a 18 gauge nailer. I'll do some finishing, just nailing with that. But I gotta drill some pilot holes first, so let's get started. So as I started going, I actually decided against using the 18 gauge nailer and just stick with the trim screws that I had on hand. I realized it was going to be pretty much all I needed for structural integrity and holding things together. Shelf number 1. We'll have to make the bracket and the wall mount, but there it is. You know, I've got to do some sanding and some kind of fine tuning, but that's the gist. I was using these trim head or trim screws. They're 2.5 inches. Got them at Home Depot. They are a T10 star drive. And using those, I don't think I'm going to have to use the nailer. This thing's pretty sturdy as it is, and these shelves aren't going to be holding a lot of weight. So let's get on to making the brackets. Shelf number 2. Okay guys, in full disclosure, as I'm building these, I am already coming up with better ways to do this. But the one thing that I noticed that I definitely would do longer or different is cut these face boards a little bit longer to hide that seam. But we're already here, and I don't think for this project it's going to make too much of a difference, especially once it's stained and on the wall. So yeah, But so that's kind of what I'm finding. And of course, you know, this is lumber from the big box store, so nothing's exactly straight. This one went together a lot better than the first one, but that is what I'm dealing with. So I'm going to get these two end caps. Mishap here. I don't know if you can see it right here. I was drilling or running the screw in, and it ran into the screw. I needed to go a little bit farther up. Surprised I didn't have that happen more than once. So a little bit of wood glue, a little bit of sanding. We'll get that piece back in there. I saved it. It's over here somewhere. Making the frame, I'm just going to do some sanding real quick, soften some of these edges. I'm going to start with an 80 grit and then probably finish off with a 120 and call that good enough. I'm just using a Makita orbital sander, adjustable speed. I think. Maybe I didn't get that one. Nope. So just orbital sander, 80 grit, and we'll start there. Grab my mask. I'm actually going to put a hat on. It's getting cold in here. The heater over here, where you guys can't see it. The heater that's giving me trouble is somewhat working. For some reason, when I open the door, it goes out, and there's really not a draft in here, so I'm not sure what that's about. Like I said, we're gonna have to clean it probably, but I've got it going now. It's on low. We'll let it run for a little bit, but here we go. Let's get to sanding. As I started sanding, I decided that for these shelves, I would like to give them a little softer look. So I started to round off the edges, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. And as I had mentioned previously, with the boards not being as straight as what I was hoping, I did have to do a little extra sanding on the top and the bottom where the boards were meeting up together. The 80 grit sanded, or using the 80 grit. I'm going to do the 120 real quick just to give it a quick rundown. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that. These shelves don't need to be absolutely smooth and shiny. We kind of like the rustic look. Not that these are going to look like they're beat up, but just to smooth it down just a little bit, and then we'll get on to the brackets. Maybe we'll stain these first before we do that. I don't know what it is when I'm done sanding. I'm sure you've noticed that I will just continually keep running my hands across that board, just kind of feel how smooth things are. I don't know why, but I just kept doing it. But what I did notice in my process of running my hand across the boards is that I was going to need to fill a couple of spots on the board with some wood filler. Wood filler here, some holes, and sand those down. I went with, actually had some spare, some older wood. That will not be against the wall. But this is going to be the base for the shelf to fit in. After filling in a few of the spots with the wood filler, I looked at the container and realized that I had grabbed a paintable but not stainable wood filler off the shelf. In the end, it ended up looking actually pretty good. There was a little bit of contrast with where the trim screws were, and I think it turned out pretty nice. filled, sanded back down, and we are going to do some staining. We're going to probably do one coat, see how it turns out. We're using red oak. Yeah, so as I picked up the rag and started staining, I realized I didn't put gloves on, which I had every intention of doing. At this moment, I still have stain on my fingers, and it's been a few days. Okay, got the first coat of stain on, and I don't think I'll do any other coats because I don't want this to get too dark. We're trying to match up to the color of the butcher block in the basement. So I think I'm actually pretty happy with how these turned out. I found this piece of lumber and decided to use it for the mount for the shelves. It's a little heavier duty than what I was thinking, but it ended up working out perfect. It's a little misshapen, but it worked for what we were using it for. So I've got the spots marked on the wall where I am going to be putting the shelves. Just finished drilling up the holes for the base that's going to get anchored into the wall. Here you will see my lovely assistant coming in to help me just kind of help set the mount on the wall. We put a board in between the wall and the mount just so we had room to slide the shelf on there, just checking level. At this point I'm checking and kind of stepping back and kind of looking at it. If you kind of see, it kind of looks a little crooked, but what I ended up finding out and realizing was our cabinets are not level. So that far right side is actually, there's a greater difference between the mount and the cabinet than there is on the left side. Other than a few minor adjustments, I'm really happy with how things turned out. So I'll try to get you guys a closer look. It's really dark up here. Okay guys, here are just some of the tools I used on this project. I think the only one I don't have in here is the orbital sander. It's out in the garage. So just regular compact drill or impact driver drill. Here's the stain we used, red oak, just the regular Varathane. And then the fasteners I used for putting the mount on the wall these were 5/16 by 6 inch GRK. Like I said, they were a Starbit T30, and they went in really well. Did drill some pilot holes with this bad boy right here. I just picked these up this morning. It is an Irwin speedBor. This is a 3/4 inch drill. Biggest I had on hand was a 1/2 inch, or a monstrous 1.5 inches, and didn't want to go that big. And then the sander, the sanding pads, the Diablos 5-inch, did 80 and 120, and I think the finish came out really well. So yeah, that is all the tools I used. It's not like you need to have all the bells and whistles, though some of that is nice. And then of course I also used my miter saw. All I did to fasten those to the mount boards was just put a couple of 2.5 inch T25 screws in, just to help hold things in place. Well guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, shoot those down in the comment section below, and I'm hoping the next video will be a redemption crappie video. But like I said, this channel is going to be a mix of kind of small projects like this, outdoor adventures, fishing, everything like that. So again, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one. Here is just a little before shot with the after shot coming up. Again, thank you guys for watching, and hit that like button and subscribe. We'll see you later.